Appreciate that, Damon. I'm glad you got me. Didn't have my mic on. So, once again, shout out to Damon for helping me out. Got the mic on. You got me, Damon. Can you hear me now? Check one, check two. That was real big in the 80s. Mic check. Check one, check two. So, let me know if you got me, Damon. Give me a thumbs up on the sound. I appreciate it. So we're going to talk about Amazon CloudFront. Before we get that, once again, we're just going to go over to the videos, get people time enough to chime in. If you got any questions on the topic, just drop them in. So just real quick, Amazon, Microsoft, Azure, they got their data exposed again. Come on, Azure, you got to do better. Once again, you can check out the replay of that video. Microsoft, we got to do better. They one of the big 800-pound gorillas. They're right off of AWS. Man, we got to do a better job. They said it was a misconfiguration, and it wasn't a lot of people that actually got their data exposed. But I always say if Microsoft can't get it right, how's the average company or small company going to get it right? Come on, Microsoft. We got to do much better. So shout out to them. Talked about my man, David Stewart, billionaire, worldwide technology. He out there getting a bag. He's got his own cloud. And if you go look at it, he actually had exercises that you could do on their private cloud for free. And there are essays and admins and cloud architects will help you with those labs. So I'm gonna go out there and do some, and I'll probably talk about that on another video. But on the video, I just kind of noticed that because he has their own, I'm calling it private cloud for certain government entities, but you can do labs on their cloud, right? So I thought that was cool for my man, David Stewart, billionaire. Shout out to him. Hackers are stealing EPT cards and snap cards. Come on, hackers. Can we ease up on the poor? Man, they ain't got no money. The sad part about it is once their cards got hacked, the government, Fed, they can't replace their money because since it was actually taxpayer money, you can't replace it even though it was hacked, which I thought was a horrible thing. So a lot of states are kind of replacing that EBT money when it gets stolen, but I think we need to figure that out because if you can definitively show you didn't steal it and it was actually stolen, I think we need to replace those funds because Snap, a lot of kids are on there and digital and people are hurting. That's why you on Snap, right? So come on, government, let's do a little better job. This young man right here, I got him off of TikTok. He got laid off. He was super sad. And at the top, you see it. And I always tell my young players this is, get out of your feelings, man. It's a business. You are a resource, right? If profits go down, they're going to fire you. If you get a $20,000 raise, you should leave, right? So don't be super emotional about it. Don't be super sad. So he did a second video. He seemed a little more upbeat. He was talking about his journey and it's just possible of that. But two is I tell people, what is your personal disaster recovery? What is your personal continuous operation of business? If you got laid off, what's your plan A? Right? Do you got an emergency fund? Can you sell some of your 401k? Do you have stocks? Do you have rental property? But if you got laid off, what is your personal disaster recovery? So go check my man out. He's just getting into his journey, young guy. I might reach out to him, man. But as the title says at the top, get out of your feelings. It's a business, right? Shout out to the young guys. He's out there grinding, though. I'm wishing him well. Google was stealing your data, biometrics data. They shouldn't have been collecting it, but Google said, F you, and the government fined them. But we know Google's getting your voice, getting your recognition. A lot of people got those Pixel phones, giving them their thumbprint, right? So Google data stealing. Come on, Google. Let's do better. We know you gangster with it. Oh, this is the new one too. Apple smart door locks. You can put the door locks, then you can use your phone to actually open the door locks or, get into your home. ADT done had this out for a minute, but Apple's getting into the game with the Apple security. So shout out to them. They with the shout door lock. So go check it out. Once again, these are videos I did through the week. Go check them out. Let me know what you think of them. PHP for the programmers and the people out there scripting. There was a PHP module that was stealing Facebook credentials. All right, I think they were doing face page and they were scraping it. What is up, Calvin? Glad Calvin could join me. Definitely one of the guys supporting me. I always leaving comments on my videos. Shout out to him. He's definitely telling when sometimes PBO be a little off, man. Calvin's keeping me honest, man. I like that energy going back and forth. PBO can't know everything, man. PBO can know. So, if you keep me honest, I try to put it on the video, and we definitely have a good back and forth actually on the comments he leaves on the video. So if you see Calvin on there, he keeping PBO honest. He give me an update. Yeah, I just saw the touchdown. Come on, Matt Ryan, man. We picked you up, man, out the heat. We thought you had a little more life, Matt Ryan. We need you. But once again, check this video out. PHP attacking. I need to get with Gabe Bay. That's some red team stuff, right? So a lot of ways to get stuff stolen now. So we're just going over the videos before we jump into the AWS. I was on this channel. Shout out to my man, Dr. Dunbar. He was gracious enough to have me on his channel this morning. We were going back and forth. So go check out his channel. It's on my community tab. Science at the high level. I always call him part of the PhDs. They're like 4 or 5 of those in the sphere. So I definitely like to show them. We went from we started on quantum computing. We jumped over to HR. We jumped over to syndromes. We jumped over to getting into management. We were all over the place though, but we started at quantum computing and from a cybersecurity perspective too. So go check out my man. Let's see. I'm trying to be engaged now. Sometimes, no, you good. I don't take it as confrontational, man. I know you're engaging. Like we just told my young man up here. Let's get back up. Don't take it personal, right? You just engaging, man. I'm kind of like that too, Calvin. I don't take it personal, man. I know you. And two is you bringing up valid points, so I know it's not personal, man. Sometimes I commingle stuff. Sometimes I'm pulling it off the dome, and sometimes I just get it wrong, Calvin. So no, I don't take it personal, man. I know it's done with respect and love, man. Like you said, we trying to get each other better and getting the information out to people. Like I said, I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. So no, Calvin, I never take it as a confrontational, man. I got a big personality. I see you got a big personality, man. So we all trying to grow and get better, man. So I definitely respect that, though. So shout out to him. So when you see me and him going in the comments, nothing but love, man. Like I said, he up and up PBO out because I can't know everything. I'm about 95% though. I'm pretty high up on there. So once again, though, check out my man. I put him in the community tab, and one thing we talked about there is we talked about Amazon, and he didn't realize this, and a lot of people don't realize this is that in the yellow, that's the AWS leasing computer systems, and he didn't realize most people think Amazon makes their money off of selling products. That is incorrect, right? They make a shitload of money, but a lot of that profits go into building data centers and building big warehouses to move that product. If I'm sending you a prime toothbrush, when I build a data center, see that in the black? All that revenue is getting ate up by me building data centers. See that little orange right there? That's 74% of Amazon's profits for the year. I think that's 2021. Amazon Web Services make $24.8 billion in profits, right? We ain't talking about revenue. We ain't talking about money. We talk about profits, right? So all that orange is computing profits, right? That little black, I ain't gonna say little, that's 25%. That's them sending stuff to your house, you ordering stuff. But the big money maker, see all that revenue right there is going to that 25% profit. That little revenue right there, because when you do computers, it's like electricity. I'm just reusing it. I don't have to build anything. It's built. I just gonna keep using it till the computer fall over, right? So that little bit of revenue made all that profit. That's $24.8 billion in profit. So shout out to Amazon. That's why I'm trying to get on my Amazon hard so I can go ahead and get into the Amazon bag so we can get to this last 10 years so PBO can retire. Rock sharp and rock. Shout out to Calvin. But yeah, I just wanted to show him out like that because I think Buffalo's got big personality. So I just want him to know I no hard feelings. And I need that, man. I like I said, I'm old. I don't know everything. So I'm not arrogant enough to think I'm gonna get everything right, and I'm not gonna disrespect if somebody. And shout out to Calvin. He brings respect, seats, stuff. So I'm not gonna be right 100% of the time. So shout out to me, man. I'm coachable at my old age, but once again, though, I gotta keep that up. See that little orange right there gives all in profits, right? Just call it 25 billion. We're gonna round up. That's why we're gonna do some AWS in a second. We got to get some of them profits right there in the orange. I like saying profits. Amazon about to 60 more data to go means more nuances can be taken. That's facts. But if you ask the normal person, Cal, they think it's moving that toothpaste. They getting them TVs. They think that's the money. I'm like, nah, player. So shout out to Dr. Dunbar. I was dropping a few gems on his channel. Go check out his channel in my community tab. So he wasn't aware about them profits in the orange, right? I think I said 4 billion. I was off. It's 24 billion, right? So let's get some of that, them profits, man. That's why we agree over this AWS stuff, man, to get these profits. I like saying profits. I don't know why. AWS slowly creeping up on their money mailer. Facts, man. They killing it. What's up? Wallace is in the house. What's going on? Let's get on these. Shout out to Black Dub 21. But once again, go check out my little arsenal of videos I did this week. I'm trying to go hard. I'm trying to do a video a day. So some of them short, they're not glamorous, but I'm just trying to give you a little info. So let's just go on. So I'm 47, constantly pursue the knowledge more, being helpful to others. I truly believe in ties should rise more than a few. Definitely, Calvin. Shout out to you. So let's go ahead and hit the CloudFront. We're going to talk a little bit about edge computing. Boom, boom, boom. I have to apologize. I got most of them done. I was on Dr. Dunbar's channel, so I didn't get all the slides tightened up like I wanted. But we're going to still give a good show. Once again, drop any of the questions in the chat. Once again, go check out that replay with Dr. Dunbar's in my community tab. We went hard. We went on a lot of things. A lot of people came through. Gabe came through. Engineering Canvas came through. Casual Economists came through. So there was a few people that came through on that. So once again, let's go and get into the Amazon CloudFront. Ain't even a bad thumbnail. Shout out to me. That's a decent thumbnail. So what is CloudFront, right? We're going to talk about it. CloudFront is a web service that speeds up distribution of static and dynamic content. If you got your HTML files, CSS, .jss, and image files to your users. CloudFront deliver your content through a worldwide network of data centers called edge locations. When a user requests content that your server with CloudFront, the request is routed to an edge location that provides the lowest latency by time delay, so that content is delivered within the best possible performance. If the content is already in the edge location with low latency, CloudFront delivers it immediately, right? So that's what we're trying to get there. Come on, coach, we can do it. If the content is not at the edge location, CloudFront retrieves it from the origin that you define, such as the S3 bucket, media package, HTTP server, which is a web server that you have identified as the source for a definitive version of that content. And we're going to dig into a little bit more of that. So that's showing you kind of what's happening. So the user's requests it. If it's cached, it returns from the CloudFront cache. If it's not in that cache location there too, it says, let's go to the S3 bucket or whatever origin that is, right? Then once it says, okay, I got the object, let's put it in the CloudFront, then give it to the user, right? So if the first time a person in that region gets it, right, it's going to be a little slower. So if you're in India, you got to come back to the United States, right? Then it's going to cache it. Then it's going to cache it close to India. Then the next get, right, you're going to get it from your edge location in India, milliseconds, right? So that's how you scale up big websites around the world, right, with edge location. And we're going to look at it. We're going to dig into it more. Amazon makes it easy to set up. That's why I got all that $25 billion in profit, right? Makes it easier for the end user and the content provider to set that up, right? So, and two, what happens is when a user goes straight to a web server or to the load balancer or to S3 bucket, it gets charged. You get charged for every data that's leaving out from those particular devices, right? So it's kind of big money. When you use CloudFront, you don't get charged for that, right? You get charged from CloudFront. So once it reads it out of the origin and puts it on CloudFront, you only get charged from here and not each individual one, right? And a lot of things too, and we're going to get into that. Shout out to Adrian Nash for joining us. So that's that edge computing. So the cool part about that is I can warm the cloud for that. What does that mean? When I boot up my web server or my load balancer, my S3 bucket, I can actually push data to the CloudFront before the user requests it, right? So if I know I'm gonna have a big conference or I'm going to run this big sale in a certain part of the world or country, I can push out content to the CloudFront so it doesn't have to go get it, right? So it's spun up. They call it getting it warm, right? I know I'm doing a sell in Cali. So this CloudFront in Cali, right? I'm gonna go ahead and push all the data that those users are looking for, right? So that one push, right? I'm not getting charged that. I'm just getting charged when they come and get it from that particular cache, right? So CloudFront securely delivers content at low latency and high transfer. Reduced latency can be delivered data through 410 globally dispersed points of presence, which automatically network mapping and intelligent routing PEDs. Customized codes you run on AW content delivery. That's when people say CDN, right? Content delivery network edge, using serverless compute features to balance cost, performance, and security. So when you're doing that, of course, you're going to be a large company. You're not going to be a mom and pop company, right? So when you deal with big companies and big architectures, that's when you're really going to use CloudFront, because your not mom and pop company is not going to be nationwide, and your mom and pop company is not going to be global, right? So you can be, but I wouldn't do that. I would just let them query it from wherever it is from the data center that's wherever my data is at, right? But when you start making money, start charging, and start scaling up, that's when you're going to use services like CloudFront. So once again, this is basically the Amazon page. End user gets CloudFront Clash, CloudFront functions, right? You get less than a millisecond response time for serverless edge. You get global disbursement. There's Lambda Edge, Origin Shield, and this is the content of that Origin, right? Origin Shield is when you get DDoS attacks, right? Origin Shield can help you improve network performance and cache hit ratio. Then the application content, where did you get that content? Did it come from an S3 bucket? Did it come from a web server? Did it come from an API gateway? Did it come from a media? Or it could actually come from your own premise network. You can use CloudFront from cloud services with your own premises architecture, right? So a lot of times you're going to have hybrid architecture, right? When you scaling up, get and you doing that type of architecture, right? So we're gonna dig a little more in that. We're gonna keep digging though. Two, once again, reliable latency, high throughput, network connectivity, and backbone. The CloudFront peers with 1,000 tier 1, 2, 3 telecom carriers globally, which is well connected with all the major access networks for optimal performance. It has hundreds of terabyte of deployed capacity. CloudFront's edge location are connected to AWS regions through AWS network backbone, fully redundant, 110 gigabit parallel fiber that circles the globes with links with 10,000s of networks for improved origin fetch and dynamic content acceleration. Once again, it has 410 points of presence, 400 plus edge location, 313 regional mid-tier caches, 90 plus cities across 48 countries. Amazon Cloud edge locations are located everywhere, right? So once again, Amazon's around the globe. They got data centers in really every continent. Even in Africa, they got two large ones at the bottom of the African continent, right? So when you're talking about putting content out and you need millisecond response time or just decent response time, right? You can use edge computing to push your contents closer to your users, right? Because you don't want users waiting. So this is the map, the worldwide map of so edge is in blue, right? So you have the multiple regional data centers at the bottom, right? Those are the big data centers, right? Then you have edge locations in the blue, right? Meaning the edge is going to go back and get your data from the big data centers, but if I want milliseconds, most of the edge locations are in most major cities, right? So if I'm in Indiana, so the data centers in Chicago, so if I want sub millisecond time, I could put it in an edge location in Indiana. So when they click on it, right, they're pulling the static web content from an edge location, which you're going to get milliseconds, right? And two is the purple is multiple edge locations. So you can see them spread out, especially in the US. You getting crazy speed. There's Spain, Africa, Asia, and there's Russia up there. So they got edge centers everywhere. So when you're talking about content worldwide, right? Ooh, that's a good question. I need to look that up to be exactly. I know they got a 12-year head start, JM. I need to look that up. I want to say 2005. I need to look that up. I'm not 100% sure. I know they got a 12-year head start on everybody, JM. I'm gonna look that up at the end, JM. They were in the game a long time before people realized that that was the future, right? So let's talk about the security part about that. Most people know that's what this channel is about. So we always got to hit the security. So security protect against network and application layer attacks. CloudFront integrates with all their security products, right? AWS Shield, AWS WAF, Route 53, seamlessly together to create a flexible layer security perimeter against multiple types of attacks, including network and application layer DDoS attacks. All these services code resides at AWS Edge, provides a scalable, reliable, high performance security perimeter for applications content. CloudFront is the front door to your application and infrastructure, and primary attack services moved away from critical components, data and code and infrastructure. Right? So the first thing you attack to, right, is you're going to go through the CloudFront because, right, that's where your index pages, your starter page, right? All your links are going to go through AWS CloudFront. So if it can handle a million hits, right, without flowing through to your website, it's going to absorb the DDoS attack, right? Because it's caching and it's not actually getting to the data center where your data is. It's actually stopping at the edge location. So other people around the country, around the world using it, if they're not using that edge location, right, they're not getting any slowdown or response because that's absorbing a DDoS attack, right? And it's handling all those hits. The other part of that is SSL TLS encryption. Amazon CloudFront API can be delivered over HTTPS using the latest version of TLS, Transport Layer Security, which is 1.3. That's the most secure. That's the one everybody's recommended to use to encrypt and secure communication between your viewer clients and CloudFront. You can also use AWS Certificate Manager and can be used to easily create custom SSL certificate, deploy those on CloudFront distributions for free. ASM automatically handles certificate renewal, eliminates the overhead and cost for manual renewal process. Additionally, CloudFront provides a number of TLS optimization and advanced capabilities, such as full and half-bridge HTTPS connection, OSCP stapling, session tickets, perfect forward secrecy, and TLS protocol, right? And we can dig into those later from a cybersecurity perfection, but and we did that. When you actually look at your SSL TLS certificate, those are the things you want set on your certificate to make sure it's secure, right? Most people know I do federal work. As a federal compliance, we need all of those, right? We need the optimization. We need the advanced skills. We need the stapling. We definitely need the perfect forward secrecy, right? If you remember Heartbleed, the other bleed for TLS, that was protecting that attack, right? From I almost said that's 5 years ago, but that's why we need those advanced features in the TLS, right? So AWS gas has always been in the cloud. I thought facts. A lot of people not hip to it. No, I'm fine. AWS has always been in the cloud. I thought no, I was the thought pattern is a lot of people wasn't hip to AWS, Calvin. And once again, when I was on the Docs channel this morning, they didn't realize that made most of the money. Right? They thought the money was made delivering packages. So he never really heard of the AWS term, which for me, I've been in this industry so long, I thought everybody knew what AWS. But if you talk to the average person that's not in the IT, they don't know what AWS is, right? They know Amazon moves packages. They don't know Amazon sells computer power, right? At a high level with over 300 services, right? In all these locations around the world where you can get edge computing, lease computing, right? So I think a lot of people are missing that part. Like you said, Calvin, I take that for granted that everybody knows what AWS is and it's linked to Amazon. Most people think Amazon make their money delivering packages. That is a no. And the other part is security access control. You can restrict content through a number of capabilities. Sign URL, sign cookie, token authentication supported to restrict access only to authentic viewers. Through geo restriction capabilities, you can prevent users can be prevented in specific geolocations from accessing content that is distributed through CloudFront with origin. Access identity features can be restricted to an S3 bucket, making it only accessible through CloudFront. And at the bottom too, once again, I do that I do compliance. So it's got all the compliance certifications, meaning you can use this services for this type of work. PCIDS is credit card, so you can use CloudFront service if you're doing credit card data. My favorite one, HIPAA. Everybody's familiar with HIPAA, Health and Hospital. ISO, big one, and SOC. I'm not a huge SOC fan, but everybody loves SOC 1, 2, and 3. I'm more of a FedRAMP guy. That's more government cloud, FedRAMP / NIST, but it has all the paperwork saying you can use this in government work, right? So once again, CloudFront. So true, being technical, Phil helps to know about this stuff. Yeah, that's true. Just and by all this stuff, I mean by all the technical stuff, not necessary being proficient. Yeah, just general knowledge, Calvin. You're 100% correct. There's a lot of stuff, especially with the acronyms. Just general knowledge, because like I said, I did a stream. I probably put it in the description with AWS, and most people once again think AWS makes their money, on moving stuff. No. They make their money making them profits with AWS. I think it was $25 billion with a big B in profits, right? So once again, just more compliance stuff. PSDS compliant. I'm sorry, PCIDS compliant, but recommends not caching credit card information at the edge location, right? So if I'm doing credit card information, I can use the CloudFront to cache information, just not credit card and PI information, right? So if I want to just do the intake form, do some other forms, I shouldn't use that to cache credit card information form. So when you click on that, that page is coming back from our data center being Ohio, any of the coast, right? So those are things, and HIPAA is eligible for that service. So when we talk about security, even though it's AWS services, sometimes those services shouldn't be used for certain data. Once again, you shouldn't be caching credit card information, right? Once again, I do compliance and I help people do PCI. So when I come in and they call it assure your system, do an IT audit on that. That's one thing I would check from a PCI perspective. Are you caching any of that stuff in edge locations, right? AWS doesn't recommend we do that. Right? Once again, we always talk about it from a cybersecurity perspective. Let's see. PB. Is it correct using WAF to restrict content to cloud formation from a domain to a subdomain? Yeah, we're actually going to show a way. You can actually do the WAF, but it's this thing called OAI PB. Yeah, PB, and we're going to show that too. I would use the WAF to restrict certain bad IP addresses, certain rogue stuff. And we're going to talk about that. It's called OAI, and that's coming up in there. I would use that to restrict. And in there, you can use Cloud Formation to actually restrict. If you're in India and I got certain content only you can see, I can restrict you only seeing your content in that edge location. Right. As a large national company, certain countries can't see other or restrictive website content. So I can use CloudFront. It's called geolocation. And I can actually use that with Cloud Route 53 too. So I use I can use Route 53. Route 53 also has regional restrictions. So instead of using CloudFront or Wi-Fi, I probably would use Route 53 for that actually, PB. It's actually built in as a little more user-friendly to set that up. And you can really set it up with a couple clicks. So I probably would use Route 53 to restrict content. Well, you say restrict content to a CloudFront. You can do that in CloudFront, and we're going to get to that. If I'm restricting for a particular location, I will use Route 53. If I'm using it for a CloudFront, we're going to get to that in upcoming slides. It's called OAI. Oh, got to get these couple. Trying to get the only verse. We got to block these a little bit. Block you. Got the bots trying to get us, man, trying to get us to the only verse. I'm gonna block them. I think some people already blocked them for me. Appreciate it. Block the only verse. We can't get them in there. Can't got block the only verse. So let's see. So while it's disappearing. Let's see. In federal, do SSL certificates need to be issued by a specific SSL authority? Can it be by any of the main ones? Yes and no. If you're the feds have their actually only internal certificate authority. If you're doing work with the Fed, as long as you use one of the big certified authorities, you'll be good. A lot of people be trying to do their own search, JM. I get a lot of people trying to do their own search. So we like you to use VeriSign, Komodo, the big guys, AWS. As long as you're certified to be in the root chain, you're good. DoD have their own certificate authority. So I think DoD has their own certificate authority, and I think a couple of the other big ones. But for 90% of them, you just got to use a certified authority, one official CA. AWS is similar to Google. Alphabet is how they make their money. Many people have no, that is true. That is true. Google's getting there, and that's what I said. I told them the big three was AWS, Azure, and Google's lagging third in there, but they make a ton of money, man. Most people have no clue. That's why Google be stepping on your privacy rights, so they can keep giving you those ads, right? So I did a stream if you saw there. That's why they're connecting your bio information, so they can keep giving you stuff, right? And keep selling you stuff. But nah, most people aren't hip to that, Calvin. Straight out to that. Oh, my update. Oh, 10-6. We climbing back. Let's go, Colts. Okay, cheers. Boom, boom, boom. Shout out to Adrian Ash and shout out to Calvin. So if we look at this, the client comes in, go to CloudFront, right? So the CloudFront, right, is linked to Cognito, and we got another slide's better. S3, right? That's the origin. So when this user comes back, if that data is already on S3, it's pull it back. We could use AWS WAF in front of CloudFront, right, to add extra security. And some of that stuff, if you log into CloudFront, we can get your passwords and things from AWS secrets, so you don't have to store those in the clear on the disk. We can use AWS secrets, and part of Cognito is storing your username and password with the secrets at the top, right? So when you log on, if you do MFA or any of that, CloudFront will say, okay, we know who this person is, they're registered, and they're good. Then two, part of that is at the bottom, if you're using CloudFront to do like buy something from Amazon, buy something for yourself, get into, we were talking about Snap. We can run you through fraud detection right there. That I'm calling it light green box. So what would be pre-fraud detection? Are you coming from a known IP address that comes from a bad site? Are you coming from a bad country? Right? It's what you're doing. Once again, there's AWS is AWS fraud because they do this for real life. Are these credit cards known to be fraudulent credit cards? Amazon has a ton of fraud data that for a price they'll share with you. And that's what they green boxes. And we can hook all that to CloudFront with a click that says, look this stuff in AWS CloudFront and see if this stuff is fraudulent. If this is from a known hacker, has this credit card we know, is that on a dark web? And so, right. So that's where they green box from. Amazon's got a ton of services. So one of those is AWS fraud to help you because during Christmas they get a ton of fraud or people try to steal from them. They have that for you, right? So when we were talking about the Origin Shield, right? Web application also need to contend with spikes in traffic during peak periods of activity. CloudFront, the volume application origin request is automatically reduced. The content is stored, like we talked about, in the edge, and regional cache is only fetched from the origin when it's needed. The load on the origins can be further reduced by using Cloud Origin Shield to enable centralized caching layer. Origin Shield optimizing cache hit ratio, collapses requests across region, leading to fewer as origin requests per object. This reduces the traffic to your origins to help to increase the availability of your app. So some of that, right? There was multiple, and we're going to look at multiple edge data centers in certain locations. Origin is going to spread that out in different edge locations. So even though you might be closer to an edge location, it might be super busy and route you to one that's maybe 1,000 miles away, but it's still going to be quicker than the ones closer to you, right? Maybe it's overworked. Maybe it's maybe something wrong with it. Maybe it's a DDoS attack on it, right? Those Origin Shield can help you with those metrics to make sure you get that response time you need. Enable redundancy for Origin. Cloud supports origins for backend architecture. Native origin failover capability automatically serves content from a backup origin when a primary origin is done. The origin can be failover between EC2, S3 buckets, media service, or non AWS origin, like on premises HTTP servers. Additionally, you can implement advanced origin failover with CloudFront and Lambda Edge, right? Once again, we pushing it out on the edge. We pushing it out in different smaller data centers so your data can handle that. So if your web server goes down, right, and you fail over, CloudFront is going to automatically fail over. It's going to automatically cache it out to the edge for you. You don't have to worry about doing anything with it. You don't have to worry about programming. It's doing a health check. So if something goes down, it's going to automatically spin you over to a DC2, a different EC2, or a different S3 bucket. It's going to repopulate your edges for you so you don't have to worry about it. So you're still getting that micro sub-second speed with your users, right, and your clients. You get real-time metrics integrated with CloudWatch, automatically publish 6 operational metrics with granular metrics. You get standard and real-time logging. CloudFront provides two-way logs requests delivered from your distribution. Standard logs are delivered to your S3 bucket. So basically, they're just keeping track of your edge locations, right? They're if anything's happening, you can have your operation team, because you're a large government or a large state agency. Their dashboards are built on top of these standard logs in real time, so they can say, okay, this edge is not working well. These users are having problems, right? So then they might put up an operation page and say, we're down for 2 or 3 minutes till we figure it out. Or they might shoot out an email saying, we know you're having problems and we're on it, right? So now you can be proactive with those different services. And Amazon is great about, and AWS is great about giving you those metrics so you can create those dashboards so you can be proactive, right? When you do things with those services. And here's some of those services. There's your Amazon CloudFront in purple. When we talk about origins, right? S3 bucket is one of the origins. Here we can have the S3 bucket go to a Lambda function, CloudWatch logs, and in those CloudWatch logs, like we said, we got dashboards, we got metrics, we got insight, we got log insight, and we got metric filters. So the metrics is all the metrics that are about your edge. Right? Contributor insight sometimes is your site might say, hey, we know the edge is going to be slow because we're refreshing all the origins underneath, right? So you can contribute to the insight with your Lambda functions. The logs insight, right, is they have automatic machine learning stuff is reading those logs and giving you stuff for your dashboard to say, hey, we see stuff like this. We know what that is, right? The metrics is I might want to look at a certain metric in there, right? I might want to look at milliseconds of performance. How long is it for certain pages to be rendered? Right? Or I might have CloudFront calling the S3 bucket. What is the metric between these two? If CloudFront is going to origin and it's taking 1,000 milliseconds to get that cache, is something wrong with that? Is there a DDoS attack? Is there an attack on my S3 bucket? Has somebody hacked me, right? So those are some of the metrics you can get from CloudWatch from AWS CloudFront. And two is when you're doing security, you want metrics throughout your organization. So you got CloudFront metrics, S3 metrics, EC2 metrics, Lambda metrics, RDS metrics for your database. You need all those metrics so you can run them through your whole organization. Your database might be slow. That's slowing down everything in the chain. But without that end-to-end metrics, it's hard for you to figure that out, right? And two is hopefully you got CloudWatch dashboard metrics to say, okay, the RDS is slow. That shows up in red. Is that calling a backup? Because it's populating my S3 bucket, which is populating my CloudFront, right? So that's where you need metrics and dashboard, right? For your operation to figure out what's going on. Because when stuff happens, and I've been in those things, you need metrics to figure out what's going on, right? I think a lot of people take that stuff for granted. I've been in production sites, and when people from management, why is it slow? What's going on? You need metrics to figure out what's going on. Like, hold tight, we figuring it out, right? But that's hopefully you have these pre-configured metrics, and as you get more mature, right, you're going to get these metrics. The cool thing is there's a lot of papers and YouTube videos to tell you what are these metrics are, and they got a lot of other features that sits on this top of metrics that'll help you read these logs and give you this insight for the logs, right? So this is DevOps friendly, right? DevOps is the developers got the development, so their code is going to work right with CloudFront, right? So it works with all the known tools, right? APIs, works with DevOps tools. You get full feature APIs. You can create, configure, and maintain CloudFront distribution. When you spin it out, shout out to DevOps. You got your CloudFormation, Cloud Code Deploy, Code Commit, and your SDK, software development kits, right? Because when you're building this to work, right, it's got to work with your code, right? When you spin out your Java, your C#, right, you got to make sure CloudFront is caching that dynamic content. CloudFront is caching your static content. You got to make sure that's working right with your application. Edge behavior can be configured with multiple behaviors to govern how to process your requests and what features you want to use. You can CloudFront Clash, CloudFront communicate with other origins, flexible cache keys, select compression methods, pass information in and from new HTTP headers. So a lot of times when they hit the CloudFront origin, and that's coming up, is CloudFront's really going to say, oh, this is static content. Pull it out of S3 bucket. I already got it, right? Oh, this is going to the dynamic content from an application load balancer. I already got that video. Serve it up. I don't need to go to it, right? So CloudFront is going to make those decisions, right, to what origin you're going to go to, and if it has it in the cache to pull it up, right? And that's the picture of it there, right? So when I go through, my users go through CloudFront, I go through the distribution. I said, oh, once again, this is static content. Bring it from the static website in S3. Oh, this distribution, these are just videos I have in another S3 bucket, right? Just serve it up. I don't need to go back to the origin in Chicago, right? I got it in my distribution. That could be in the United States. That could be overseas. We looked at all the edge locations on the map, right? So where are we serving it from, right? Where is that happening from, right? Let's see. Repopulate your edges. Sound like talk to me. Some folks really need edges, no traction. Found out to that. We got to get the edges right. Edges in hair and edge in computers. We got to get them both right, Adrian Nash. But shout out to that. I bow, so I'm leaving all that around alone. So shout out to that. But nah, so we got to get them repopulated. So two is we might have custom coding from the EC2 at the bottom. So it comes to the application load balancer. The load balancer will get that information from the EC2 with all those scaling groups, right? We got those in multiple data center. Once it gives that data, it's going to get cached in the distribution edge. So if your user needs to get it and that query has already been run, we don't need to go back down to that data center, right? It's in our distribution. Shout out to Adrian Ash. We got our edges tight. We doing the right thing. At the bottom, we got static and dynamic content. We got a secure, non-secure. We got add, updated, delete objects, and where we got real-time live stream videos. We can put PBO videos into the origin before it come back in the Amazon. We get them out the S3 bucket, right? So we got them at the edge. We coming back in microseconds, right? So and two is we talking about large companies. We talking about companies. When you talking about Netflix, you talking about Amazon Prime. A lot of those videos you do when you're looking at, they're not going back to the data center. They're in their edge distribution for that location. So when people around the world, when India comes, they're not going to come back to Chicago. They're going to have a distribution in India. Then their Indian videos are going to come back quick. We're watching Indian videos, so a lot of the most popular ones are going to be stored in their distribution, right? I'm gonna get a charge for that distribution, but now my users are happy. They're not waiting a long time. They're not getting buffering. It's not coming out in the US. It's coming from the edge location in India because that's where they requested the video. When I streamed it there, it got put on the distribution, right? So now we get super quick time. Wait, come on, coach. shout out to Cal for giving me the update. But so those are the different origins. So when you talk about distributions, right, the origin is where it's going to get that data from so it can cache it, right? And you can set those up. I was hoping to do a lab, but I was on Doc's channel, so I didn't get my lab done. So, and this is what who asked me this question. So when you're actually talking about locking it down to Amazon, that's the origin access identity key. So on my bucket policy to my S3 bucket, I can say only users can get to this bucket must have this origin access identity key. They only was going to have it as my Amazon CloudFront. So if this user tries to bypass and get to my S3 static bucket, that user won't have that key from a security perspective. So he cannot get to my bucket. So somebody asked, how would I lock down Amazon CloudFront to a particular origin, especially an S3 bucket? So that origin access identity, and we're going to do that in the lab, not today, upcoming. I'm actually going to walk through that and set that up. And the bucket policy is the permissions that what can get into this bucket. So that bucket policy only says this origin access ID, which would be only owned by this Amazon CloudFront. So this cache and distribution can only get to that S3 bucket, right? So that's how you would lock it down. Oh, there you go, PB. I appreciate it. So that's it. And that's how you would lock it down. Shout out to the security people. So that's how you would do it. So, and then two is, so you always put your bucket policy, which is your AIM, identity and access management policies. It's called a bucket policies. So you would say what can get into this bucket? Only this access identity, which is owned by the Amazon CloudFront. So if this user would try to get to it, they couldn't get to it. If some other users that was actually on our network would try to get to it, they couldn't get to it, right? So only this user, Amazon CloudFront, and my admins I got working on the bucket, they would have access to that key to get to that bucket, right? So that's how you lock it down. Security, right? We only want least privilege. Only certain things can get to that bucket and access. How do we do least privileges? One way is the origin access ID. That's what we would do. Let's see what JM said. Does AWS practice safeguard against buffer overflow? Oh, yeah, they got to come. If you go to the WAF attack, and we'll go to the WAF, which was here, JM. Let me get back there. There, the AWS WAF. The OWASP top 10 is part of the buffer. I think is OWASP top 10. I think buffer overflow attack, and OWASP handles the top 10, and a lot of those are buffer overflow attacks. Would be handled by that. So how does it handle it? It looks at your the length of your input. If the length of your input is bigger than what's in AWS WAF, a lot of times you get overflow. Is I know it's 20 characters. I take your JavaScript away, and I see in 50 characters to it, right? AWS knows that that item or variable or field in your form should only be so way big. So yeah, AWS. What? Let me look that up, Jam. I'm pretty sure AWS. Why? What's that one? So keep throwing questions in there. I think it was. But yeah, I'm looking up that WAF. I think I found it. Let's see. It's 2016. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's in the top 10. Damn. Yeah, there it is. So just real quick, I just got it. It got the WAF samples. Then part of right there is what I highlight. Let me make that a little bit. Buffer overflow was in that top 10, JM. WAF samples, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and buffer overflow. That's a 2016 article, but yeah, I'm 99% sure. There it is with the buffer overflow. So that's what WAF is expensive though. WAF just to check in and use it is $3,000 a month. So, and a lot of times too is at my bigger clients, if the development team, if we find a vulnerability being buffer overflow or SQL injection or cross-site scripting, those are kind of big three. If they don't have time to fix it, we could put AWS WAF in front of them. A lot of times we do AWS WAF just to, if the development team misses something or the software we bought, we not as sure as it should be secure, we can put it behind AWS WAF, right? We have multiple projects too, so we can use AWS WAF and spread it over multiple projects. But there it goes, SQL injection, cross-site scription, buffer flow, overflow. There's once again, it's OWASP top 10 and many more things AWS WAF out the box to protect. So, and two is if you running a big SOP, I would definitely use WAF, but it's $3,000 a month straight out there. Boo. The coach ain't been doing this year, man. Come on, coach. But shout out to Calvin for keeping me updated. I didn't want to watch. We've been losing. So I'd like, so, but once again, you can use AWS WAF, which works seamlessly with CloudFront. It's a switch in there. You can just say use AWS WAF right in front of it. So any of the cloud traffic, they make sure will be coming from WAF. Right. And a lot of people use, and if you're a big site, $3,000, not a lot of money for all the things that get attacked on the web. AWS WAF is up there. And AWS DDoS, especially this AWS DDoS Advanced is super expensive too, but when you get attacked by anonymous, you need WAF and Advanced Shield from a cybersecurity perspective. So not worth me watching it. Yeah, I feel that, Calvin, man. I said let me get my AWS grind on. But yeah, so that's all I really got in front of I'll drop the link if anybody want to come up. But that's it. And once again, I'm gonna start labbing and do more labs. I'm preparing to take the AWS Associate DevOps Architect, and that's the only certification at AWS. You got to do 3 labs. So I think you get 3 hours, and a part of that you got to do 3 labs. So it's super long. Shout out to I want to say JM, but I think it's the other JM. He has a YouTube channel. He took it and passed. So I think that's definitely on my so I'm hoping to do that probably in the next month. Take that AWS DevOps, but you got to be wary with your lab skills. Is the web application firewall a replacement to the actual hardware or network firewall? Or are they both used together? If so, does using both firewalls cause compatibility problems? Is the web application firewall a replacement to the actual hardware network firewall? Uh, yes. They don't want you to use firewalls. They want you to use security groups, right? So security groups is the first layer. So that's actually going to give you an instance firewall around your EC2 or your application load balancer, right? So that's the first layer. But when you start talking about big companies, I might have a website in a Cali region, a website in Chicago region, and a website in India. When I start using the application firewall, I'm controlling the firewall between different regions around the world, right? So I'm controlling a lot of times when I see people use application firewall, JM, they're using it from a per region basis. Or I have 2 different VPCs and I'm controlling the traffic between my 2 VPCs, right? One VPC might be for credit cards, and I'm using the EC2, and I'm using it for the data center moving product. I might use a different VPCs for credit cards and payments, right? Those VPCs, even though they're the same region, they need to talk, right? So now I'm controlling the traffic between VPCs, data centers, and data center around the world. That's when I see people use web application firewall at that level, JM. And no, they're not a compatibility problem. The problem is you up your complexity, right? So now if I set up web application firewall, I'm blocking 80. Now let's say I'm blocking a new port for this app, 3130. But then I'm blocking it in the security groups, and I'm blocking it I'm a Linux guy. I'm using the IP tables. So now when I make one change, is the IP tables blocking it? Is it the security blocking it? Or is it the web application firewall blocking it now, JM? So I don't think it's compatibility. I think you're getting complexity, right? Because at work, we were talking about run books. So if somebody attacked my security groups in my application firewall and I need to lock it down for some reason, I could spin up IP tables on my 400 EC2 instances and manually handle that, right? But when I do that on IP tables on an EC2 instance, JM, I gotta set up scripting, or I gotta do that manually. When I do security groups, I can do all that through AWS console. I do web application firewall, I can do all that through AWS console, right? So I don't think it's compatibility, I think it's complexity, right? Then let's go to a whole nother level. Is when you do DevOps at a big company, because I got 400 VMs, I'm using system manager scripts. I'm using cloud formation. I'm using Ansible. I'm using some automation now. So now I got to still sync that up with my automation, JM. So I don't think it's a compatibility problem. It's a complexity problem. So you can be secure, and we can put multiple layers of security. But now, right, I've always want to have multiple layers, right? So I'm gonna do the ALB. I'm gonna put on private. I'm gonna do a security group, right? So I got multiple layers, right? I got my IPS and IDS on there. I could do IP tables, but what level of risk and security am I getting for that level of complexity I'm about to add to it? Let me know if that makes sense, JM. I'm rambling a little bit. I'll drop the link, but now I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've been going through that, because as a compliance guy, how much risk am I going to force DevOps to do before they say, dude, this is getting super complex, right? So now complexity is going to cost you, right? So I need more ops people. I need a IP tables person. I need a security group person. I need a web application firewall person, right? Now I need my cloud formation people to understand that when we doing our automation build on that, right? So it all plays together, JM. Let me know if that makes sense, man. Yep. Shout out to PB. We try to make sure we get simple, but we don't want to be too complex, right? As I get older, when I was younger, I used to love complex things. When I know I'm done with an architecture or program, I did this program. It did some stuff. It did a web service call, pulled some data, automatically inserted an Oracle database. I did it with 40 lines of code, and somebody said, "Wow, man, that was super simple." Right. And when you look at my stuff, I that's where I'm trying to get. We always laugh. You can always make the complex stuff look extra hard, but can you make the complex stuff look simple? That's when I know I'm on top of my game. That's when I know I'm killing in the architecture game. You look at it, you go, "Oh wow, that's simple," but it has the level of security, the level of complexity, and it can perform at the speed I need it to perform. And it's simple, you killing the game, right? So that's me on my soapbox. Drop a couple more things. That's the link if you want to come up. Let me know if that makes sense, JM. Oh, come on, PB. Let's go get these certifications, man. I started from the bottom. I got the cloud practitioner foundation. I studied for the associate architect. Then I got the associate developer. Then I got the associate. I'm sorry. Then I got the security specialty. I'm gonna get the DevOps certifications. Then I'm gonna go to the I want to get the professional certs. Then the AWS got the professionals, the two big dog, architect and DevOps. So I want to get both of those. Then I want to get the specialty database. I love database. I made my first bag. So AWS has a database specialty cert. So I think I'm gonna do hopefully DevOps next month. Uh, Probably professional, architect, database specialty. Then the big dog for me is the professional DevOps, because I think that's where I want to go. Really, is the next part of my career is getting into DevOps. Go from compliance to DevOps. Let's see what JM say. Sometime when it's complex, some of the administration are not aware of it. They can create possibly. That is true. That is true. The more complex, you definitely gonna have problems with administrator and operators. And two is I get mad at a lot of architects, because I think a lot of architects, I think they getting paid if it looks complex. I'm like, dude, why can't we just do X? Right? Why do we jump through these 5 different hoops? Why don't we just two is I programmed for a decade. Why don't we just put the flat file on Linux, and we can just point the Oracle that I can select and insert all the data straight from the file system and insert it into a database? Why you got me putting an S3 bucket, calling a Lambda, putting a Lambda in the queue, then the queue search it in a database? I can just suck it right off of the file system, right? So two is, so we got to make sure we're not making the complex overly complex just so you can say you got a job and make it complex, right? So that's kind of the value I add too, and that's one reason too I want to get certifications. Certifications, right, gives you a certain level of people respect. They believe you understand certain things because you got certified, right? So let's see. Facts. And two is I don't get overly. I know people certified can't program their way out of a paper bag, so I don't put too much into certifications. Just one part of a resume, one part of your skills. Because I met guys with PhDs I don't think can program out the paper bag or architect, right? They overly make stuff complex because this is not a school project, right? I got on a PhD architect. I'm like, okay, dude, that works with 100,000. We got to run 1 billion rows through this thing in 4 hours. Your architecture can't scale, right? So part of complexity is you got to scale. I work with big clients. I worked at DOD. I worked with the IRS, right? So we move in billions of rows, and you got a window at night to get that done. It's got to be performing in scale, right? So when you jump through 10 hoops, that got to scale, right? And then if that fails, you got to be able to start where you left off and keep it going, right? Because too often, if you do not spend the money, they take the money. So you do things unnecessary. No, that's true. That's true. And two is, and we're aware of that, especially at the government DoD, is let's use the money best where it could be used at, right? So let's make that happen, right? How are you doing today, Miss Nash? So you correct, Calvin, but let's use the money in the best spot it could be used at. Oh yeah, Postgres. Oh, facts. I'm a big Postgres guy because Postgres stole all the good things from Oracle, and I did Oracle for 10 years, PB. So if I'm not using Oracle, my next thing is going to actually use Postgres, and I'm getting used to some of the NoSQL PB. That's getting hot. DynamoDB is from a NoSQL perspective, and if you move in a billion rows and you don't need that relational model, most people go on the NoSQL route. How are you doing, Miss Nash? I'm glad you can make it.
Hey there, Professor BlackOps.
How are you
I was
doing?
just, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just wrapping this up.
All right then. I can talk faster than I can text. So I was just over in the amen corner about making the complex simple. Yes, please, and thank you.
Okay, that's it.
Amen.
And two, his thing is, and you reached out to me, and a couple people reached out to me, is I gotta stop using acronyms, right? I need to do a stream where I bring down an acronym so and level set everybody. I think besides you, the most of the people in my channel are super techy, but we want to bring non-tech people in here. So I gotta stop using acronyms. I'm from the government. We make a living on acronyms, and you gotta enunciate them. So shout out to the acronyms. So that's one thing I want to do: make the complex simple and cut down on acronyms. So shout out to that.
No, you need your dictionary. Your
Oh,
That's
facts.
fine. Put together your dictionary, your
Oh,
thesaurus or something, so we can know, please and thank you.
you're welcome. Thanks for coming up. Let's see, Calvin at his thing. At my corp job when I was there, they had petabytes and storage using 100 terabytes and picking up 2 more terabytes because of the budget was allocated. Facts, because you're always gonna need terabytes. You might need them. So now facts on that, man. So we want to use those right. So now facts. So which is a shame. You would think if you save money, you would get some kind of reward for saving money, but if you don't use it, you won't get it back. So that's part of that corporate American, especially in the government, man. You hear airplanes dumping gas and fuel so they can get it back next year, so their budget won't be cut. So we got to do a better job, government. We can't be. And the cool thing about it is, and shout out to Cap for delving in there, petabytes and terabytes, man. When you talk about doing that, and you got to do that in a window, your algorithms and stuff has to be performance. Your stuff has to be scale. Part of security people forget is availability. If your stuff can't scale, your data won't be available. So that's one thing I bring in as compliance stuff. I've done architecture forever, so I can help you with the availability, making sure your stuff scales. But I've been in heated stuff with architecture. What I tell them is, I try to tell them professionally that won't scale or that won't meet the requirements of us being online. That means, AKA, your architecture's crap, right? So let's get it. Oh, I read that wrong. My bad. Now you read that wrong. They use 10% of current allocation need to triple it because it was budget. When 10%, oh, okay, went from 10%. No, I read. No, I think I didn't say it right. No, you're right. Um, like you said, they're allocating even if they don't needed it. No, but you're right. I just put it on there, and Calvin's right there. If you needed it and you needed to run it through, we still got to run that data. Calvin's like, nah, we don't need it. We're only using a little bit of that. Fact. Now, shout out to Calvin for bringing that. I'm from DoD, where we actually had to run a couple hundred terabytes in a data warehouse through a process, right? So, long story short, I did this thing where you actually have to send files out to locations to get them processed. The first time I did it, I think I had a 500 million rows was going to take me 30 days. So they were like, your process sucks. So when you have a window, you got to get all that data through there, right, and make it happen. Okay, terrible. Wasteful spending, just terrible. Yet they will lay people. Oh yeah, two. And Kevin brings up a good spot. We talked about that. Government and companies sometimes they have different color money, right? We got money for hardware and software and equipment, but our people money and our contract money comes from a different budget, right? So we might be running short on contractor money and people money because we're ramping up, but we got a ton of money for procurement and capital spending, but we can't use it for people. So I've been on projects like, dude, can we use some of the capital money on people? Nah, when that project got budgeted, especially in the government, you got capital spending money and you got people money, then you got variable money. All those are different color money, and you can't commingle them sometimes. So that's crazy, man. PB, I managed to run 20 million rows in under a minute 30 seconds. Oh, facts. Postgres. If you know what you're doing, facts. That's why a lot of people don't understand that. I managed to run 20 million rows in under a minute and 30 seconds using Postgres. I've done big data, so I've done stuff like that. But a lot of times, especially when you get young programmers, they think half a second is a lot, is super quick. When you take a half a second times 20 million rows, you're going to come out with like 20 days. So a half a second slow. You need to start getting a thousandth of a second to a row because you got to run 20 million rows. So when you start doing that number, right? Like I said, I did 1 billion in 4 hours. So shout out to PB. He's doing his Postgres. You don't have to answer this, PB. Are you using packages and procedure in the database? You using C# on the middle tier? Are you using JavaScript on the front end? How you processing those rows? How you processing those rows, PB? Let me know. PB, wow. So and like I said, I've worked on big data warehouses at DLD when I was young. That's how I made my first bag in Oracle, PB. And two, his hardware is a lot better. I think coding's better, but the hardware's a lot better, man. We were doing that stuff you wasn't using solid state drives. You were using regular HDD drives. You didn't get a lot of memory. Now I could put a memory drive in there. I'm on SSD drives. Man, you can spin up some killer hardware, especially in AWS. I can run that stuff in pure memory now. In the old days, man, you had a solid state drive, no SSD. Oh, straight. That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. Shut out on the progress functions. The reason I said that is, and I'm arguing with a lot of guys, a lot of people don't want you to do functions and stuff in the database. They want you to do it in the middleware, PB. They want you to do it in Java, C#, PHP, because they want your database to be agnostic, meaning they could just put out another database. I could bring in Oracle and run the same process. I tell them I spent all that money on Postgres and SQL so I can use it, right? PB, I get a lot of, not as much because I probably start programming again. A lot of people tell me their app is slow because I took 1 million rows, brung it into Java just to do some selects and then I move it back. I'm like, dude, all that network traffic, all that extra memory I had to do in the middle tier, I could do it all in the function and be done with it, right? I save less hardware, and two is so so shout out to that. A lot of people are not hip to that, PB. The main language is PB, but a lot of people are scared to run functions in the database. I'm old school. If I'm doing some data manipulation and all the data's in the same database, I'm writing a function or procedure, right? I see a lot of guys moving to the middle. Now, if you get some data from 3 different databases and you need to move them all, consolidate them, then insert them into 3 different databases, got you. But most people, they doing all their manipulation in the database. I can take an insert, do a select, make a view, do all the calculations in the select, and just do it all in one insert. If I got enough memory, I can do all that in one big insert, select. I can do a couple case statements, PB, and I can make it happen, right? But I'm about that life. Most people don't understand that, and most people want to do it all in middle tier. So, PB, did the young guys that was fired finally? I don't know yet. I need to reach out to him. Shout out to him. I put that on my thing. He was a little emotional, JM. I was worried about my homie. I might reach out to him. The second video, he seemed a little bit. I did a video, young guy. Shout out to I think Adrian Nash said his eyebrows was on fleek. So I'm gonna leave him alone though. His eyebrows looked they were tight. That's all I'm gonna say. But no, shout out to him. He understood he got laid off. He worked for a big bank and he just didn't realize he was a resource. He thought it would happen to somebody else, but not him. So once again, I went through there before we started. And long story short is, what is your personal disaster recovery plan? If you get laid off, we got run books, right? If you get hacked, do this. If this database get ransomware, do this. You personally, if your job got hacked, aka you got fired, what's your plan? Do you got 3 months emergency fund? Shout out to Intentional Millionaire. What are you going to do? What do you have in place, right? If were, a lot of people ended up on people couches, hobosexuals, right? Meaning you're just staying with people so you can have some place to say. Shout out to the tech industry though. We got skills. We don't need that, but you got to be careful out here, Bleak. So yeah, PB. But a lot of people want to work on the middleware, and if you want to do that, I'm cool, right? I'm an architect. I try to be flexible with people. So there's 10 ways to skin a cat, but you can't come to me and say, why is my applications slow, PB, when you moved 1 million records out, 20 million records out of the database, put it into Java, did all that calculation just to move it back and insert it in the same table where the data was at, right? In the same, schema, right? I can just do all that at the database, right? So Fleet guy says, no, shout out to him. So no, shout out. What the good news to this channel, Chaos? We just talking a little bit about AWS. We talking a little bit about people getting laid off. We talk about cybersecurity, specifically the AWS. We trying to get people in the industry, get the bag. And I'm here to help people do that. So that's what's good about this channel, Chaos Rain. I think I seen you on For the Record TV, I think most of the time, Chaos Rain. Thanks for joining us. I was on the Good Doctor's channel today. So a few people coming from his channel to mine. Go check out the doctor's channel, Dr. Dunbar. Big Discussion 76. I put his channel actually in my community tab. So that's what we over here doing, Chaos Rain. Thanks for joining us. Now, speaking of I don't know anything about database. We're going to train you up, man. Database ain't nothing but it's just Excel in this cloud, right? Excel keeps data. You can sort with it, Wayne. Database is just a bigger version of that, Wayne. I would like to learn. Oh, shout out to that. We might do a little bit, learn the progress in the future. That's one of the upcoming databases. I like Oracle. It's definitely pricey, definitely old school. A lot of people are getting away from that. So the second on my list, if I'm going order, will be Oracle. I know it inside out. Postgres, I'm decent with it. Probably would be MySQL. Then I'm trying to get over to DynamoDB, get some of that NoSQL. PB, I think we need to get another databases in our toolkit. Depending on what we're doing, there's different databases. Their graph databases are hot now. So there's AWS, I think I did a stream on. They had 30 different databases. So depending on what I'm doing and how I'm storing the data and how I need to query it and the security of the data I'm storing, right? I want to pick the right database to do the right job. Facts. Databases, input and output, right? And that's where you store it at, right? So long time. Yep. Shout out to Chaos Rain. So I dropped the link one more. We wrapping it up. I appreciate people too, as I do a few things. So things I like to do with is, you guys saw when we first started, is I call it commercial cybersecurity. We talked about Apple with their automatic door lock. They just got a new door lock. You can open up with the Apple phone, but if I hack your phone, can I open up your house, right? It's a cool feature. I liked it. The door lock was quality. It looked like it was double bolted, super thick, so it would be hard to kick it in. But if I hacked your phone, could I get in your house, right? Then we did another one, Adrian Nash. I think JM was talking about young IT guy got fired. So I talked about it from IT. There's a lot of jobs, but you can be laid off, right? It's not invincible. So if you get laid off from an IT perspective, I thought he was too emotional because he said he thought it couldn't happen to him, right? I always tell people in business, especially in IT, you're just a resource. If the profits go down and you're the ranked last person on your team, you're going to get fired first, right? So from an IT and career perspective, and from a personal perspective, just what is that like in real life and what things do you need to do, in person. And the other thing, they were talking about hacking EBT and snap cards, right? Part of that is cybersecurity, hacking cards. The way they were doing it, right? They had super small skimmers. They had a pin camera, so they were recording your pin when you were putting it in. But the other part of that from a society that I want to talk about view is, since that is snapped to EBT and you really have no political clout, they're not reimbursing your money, right? Because since it's Fed money, they said they couldn't reimburse it. If your stuff got hacked and your Snap got stolen, you are on your own, right? But your credit card you use now, right? You got the chip on that card. They don't have the chip on Snap cards. You should put the chip on Snap cards to make them harder to hack. So now you're making it easier to hack, and you're not refunding their money, right? So what does that do to poor people when you let their Snap get stolen, right? From a cybersecurity perspective, right? We need to push back on that. Note to automatic door locks for me. Yep, note to me. Note to me too. So I've been there many times, being made redundant. You just take it with the pinch of salt. You would be able, you would be taken up quickly. No, that's facts. BB, like you said, you got to keep your skills up. You want to keep learning. You want to keep learning new skills. I'm 55. I'm trying to learn Amazon. I've been getting the search because I need 10 more years to retire. I need to get to about 66, I think, at my age to be able to retire. Now, will I retire? Maybe not. I enjoy what I do. I definitely enjoy on YouTube. Shout out to Kev Tech. He keeps telling me I need to do a course. So I'm going to get my course out there. So I should hopefully work on that next summer. Do a course and working with middle schoolers, like we were talking about on Dr. Dunbar's channel, is the pipeline's not full because tech and cybersecurity is not cute. It's not sexy. So small kids don't want to get into it because in the movies, tech people, we got thick classes, we getting beat up, we getting pushed down the steps, and they're taking our ladies when you see movies in tech, right? So how do we make tech cool, or just let people know this is a viable industry and you need to get in it, right? A lot of tech billionaire. That's why I did, if you look on there, that's why I did David Stewart. He's a tech billionaire, black guy. He has WWT. He's a billionaire because he has a tech company, right? So let's talk about tech and put some respect on tech name, right? So shout out to tech. So I'm wrapping it up. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I'm about to go get something to eat. My old ass got to go on a diet, man. I just gained a lot of weight during the pandemic. I got to keep it together and get my walking on and get to a remedial class. Shout out to that. So yeah, I'm gonna do one for the kids, do one for remedial. What's up? Shout out to that. So yeah, I'm gonna do. Go ahead, bro. Ran, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
What's going on? Yeah, I think I met you on For the Record, right? I think we were on there together.
I popped up, but that was like month and a half ago, 2 months ago. I haven't really kept up with their channel, with the people For the Record, because there's many For the Record. There's the Topaz and them.
Yeah, Topaz and them. That's what we met.
Yeah, that was like a month and a half ago, maybe.
Oh yeah, it was a little while. Man, you act like that's 2 years ago. Yeah, but
no, it was a while back because at times they stream at a certain time that I'm not gonna be able to catch every content creator.
Oh, facts, yeah, and they stream a lot. And shout out to them. They be getting a little too spicy for me, man. Oh, dude, so I pick certain streams I'm gonna jump on with them. But shout out to them, man.
It looked like Restream has now. You can put Avatar now. This is new. See, they've been following StreamYard. They're stealing some points.
Oh yeah, they're trying to keep up. Yeah, I need to do a little more. I've been checking yours out, and I'm just doing like shout out to them. I be struggle streaming on Restream, so I need to do a little better in 2023.
But this one looks like it works well since they made the little adjustment now with this, But you had to pay for it though.
Oh yeah, facts. I got the deluxe bottle, man. Shout out because a lot of people were having trouble with StreamYards before the billions, and a lot of people once they got to a certain size, or even just a lot of they seen they were having problems with StreamYard. So I said, let me give Restream a shot.
Okay, well, like I said, you're gonna spend some money anyway. So if you're a tech person, usually people that's in techie, they say, nah, man, I like to deal with the free stuff. Let me use OBS. Use this. I forgot this other application that is new that came around that's picking attention. And I said, let me stream on this. So I can make it look pretty. Images and all stuff. But you're a tech dude, so you're not gonna do that yet. But eventually you will. You'll come around it.
Yeah, I'm getting there because too is I liked OBS StreamYards, but it was hard to bring up multiple people. You had to use Zoom or something else. So I think I'm gonna take my Restream, and I think I'm gonna hook it to the free OBS because when people come in, you can make the noise and super chat and all of that. So I think that's my 2023 goals. Don't let that out, man. I'm working on that.
All right, good.
So that's all my thing, man.
Yeah, because I was catching the playback of Dr. Dunbar, and I asked for your actual channel, so he sent to the comment section. So that's how I'm here.
No, I appreciate that. I always try to support the PhDs and Dunbars, doing great work. So I always joke with him when he summons me, I try to come through. And we had a good stream talking about quantum computing, and kind of like with me, we can go anywhere. We got off into a lot of different subjects on that stream. So I always enjoy going to his channel. So
the quantum computing now aspect, how long you think it will be before we start getting in the palm of our hands?
Quantum?
Yeah.
Oh, quantum. I think in the palm of your hands, I think it's a while. I think you're going to see quantum computing in the back end, because I think some of the big companies are going to start use quantum computing for mass surveillance, for fraud. I think Amazon's, if you go out to Amazon, that's what I talk about a lot. They got free quantum computing out there where you can test the stuff out for like 60 days. So they're using some of that for their fraud stuff, because they make we were talking about on that screen because Dr. Dunbar thought they made money selling stuff. I said, no, they make money in AWS selling excess computer stuff. So they made $25 billion selling computer power to different companies. So they invest in
so you mean on their store, they sell technology?
Yeah, I can show you the quick slide. Yeah, a lot of people think they sell money, which they do, but they lose a lot.
Sell everything. They sell everything though.
They do, but they don't make money on that. Well, I'll take that back. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to show the quick slide. They make money. They just don't make a lot of money because they're selling you toothpaste, but they just spent a big data center to deliver it to you for free. So it's hard to make money on that. They make most of their money on excess computer power.
Okay.
So what that means is when you start a company, Amazon has computer power that you can lease like water. So you can give them your credit card and you can spin up 2 or 3 servers. It's going to cost you $10 a month. But large companies, like, people don't realize Netflix runs on Amazon. So there's a lot of big companies you don't realize in behind the scenes, they're renting their computer power from Amazon. So why would you do that? I don't have to build a data center. I don't have to worry about electricity. I can just do what I do well and let Amazon manage all that data center stuff. So if you see that slide, that in the black is what they make selling stuff to you. 26% of that comes to their profit. That little orange part is the cloud computing part. That makes 74% of their profits. That makes $25 billion a year. So that's really where they make their money. So this subsidizes all of this, right? Because when you're building data centers of computers to pick and pack, you're not making any money. How do you fund that? You fund that in the orange with the $25 billion in profit. So a lot of people don't realize that. So I shot this to him in email. So he didn't realize. A lot of people don't realize that. Long story short, years ago, I don't know how old you are. Pets.com, they used to sell dog food in the 80s, 90s. She bought $10 million worth of computer power. After Christmas, she didn't need it all, but she already owned it. So she went out of business because the upkeep of that was so much. She said if she had Amazon data center, that $10 million would have been $250,000 because she would have leased it when she needed it. So that's why Amazon Web Services high. And I do work in Silicon Valley. They're not going to let you buy computers. They're going to tell you to rent it, because if you fail, we can give it back to Amazon, right? So,
you mean so like say like a desktop, laptop, you have to rent that?
No, that they let you buy, but a lot of times I need to buy a server, right? If I need to buy a big service for you to put a database on and run some Java code on or run some HTML code on, and you get hit around the world, you might get 10 million hits on Christmas, right? I might need 100 servers to handle that much traffic so you can sell the Chaos Rain shirts, the cups, and the mug. But after Christmas, I only need 2 servers, right? So I went from 100 to 2. I don't need to own the whole. In the old days, if you bought 100, you would own them the whole year round. I just leased 100 through Christmas. I can get the rest of them back and run on my two servers for the whole year, right? So now instead of having fixed costs, I got variable costs, and that's what you want. So that's why Amazon makes $25 billion a year in profits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Dr. Dunbar wasn't hip to that too, so we were kind of chopping it up about that.
Yeah, man. Cause we have a lot of people that's in the cybersecurity on YouTube. Techies one of them. Keep Techies one of them.
That's my guy.
I did show. Matter of fact, maybe I should have you on my show, on my calling show, or maybe on my YouTube channel. We talk more about tech, because it's been a while since I had somebody that does tech. You know, it doesn't get much attention, but it's always good to have certain content on it on the technology side of piece, because you can't escape it.
Oh, facts. You doing it. A lot of times you doing it, you don't know you're doing, because people
Yeah.
don't realize your phone has more power than what they took to get to the moon. And two is you don't put down your phone and they're tracking your phone. So I always laugh
Yes.
when people talk about stuff like, dude, you take your phone to the bathroom. I could kill you with a missile because you never put down your phone, man. So a lot of people don't realize it. And then when you type in stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm keeping track of everything you type. So when you go back in Google and you type it in, they know what you type. Then when you type it in, you get to see the ads on the side change, right? That's why Facebook make $1 billion without you buying anything, because they're
On their site.
advertising.
Right? Yeah, they're on their site. They know what you're doing by just keep logging in. And like I said, Zuckerberg makes money every time you push a keystroke.
Facts. And it's even worse than that. I always joke with people. Shout out to Adrian, don't get mad. Is you message your side chick. I know who your side chick is. I know who your mama is. I know who your girlfriend is, because you message them. You message something, look at your ads. If you say we're going on a vacation, your ads gonna change, right? So I'm tracking down a millisecond. So people don't realize. Then when you go to other stuff, it's a cookie. Facebook know what other websites you went to. So if you go to and you order something from other site, go back. Facebook got cookies on it, so they know what you. So they're gonna try to sell you something different, right? And two is when you buy a Super Bowl commercial, I don't know when you leave. Facebook knows when you log off. Facebook knows when you're not typing. Facebook can tell an advertiser, I know what location they're in. Depending on your IP address, I can guess within 25 miles of where your house is at.
Is that when I give to have the feature on, is an automatic? It's always going to be always on, regardless of I trying to.
It's always on, even though you cut location out. What Facebook do, and we can talk about this later, is Facebook buys your location data from the phone companies. They know your IP address, so even if I got that data from the phone company, and the phone companies are always triangulating your call to give you the best reception. So I know your IP address from your phone. So Facebook buys all that data from Verizon and T-Mobile and all that, so they can match that with their data and put them together. Because, and two, we about to jump out there, is that's why when the police gives Facebook a warrant, Facebook can tell you exactly where you were at. A lot of times when something happened, Facebook can say, anybody within a quarter-mile radius, I need all their phone numbers sent to the police. Right? So
yeah. As a matter of fact, I think when he went to Congress, like back in was it 2017 or 20? No, it's actually 2018. It was one of me. It was 2019. I think it's during. He went and he was in front of Congress talking about the activities of Facebook, and he had to tell the people, someone that's not computer savvy, I say, "Can I do this?" and make an emoji? Say, "No, sir, you cannot." You know, ask it. But you know, it's older, like boomers. You get me?
Oh yeah.
But as the biggest thing, one woman tried to go as far as I know, she did it already, because you know Facebook kind of merged and rebrand themselves into Meta now.
Facts.
That how she see that they were playing with the minds of people through the political side of things, you know.
Oh yeah.
And she I think she went to Congress to reveal, but they're not gonna do enough, because the man's gonna rebrand himself. He already told you when that happened, and I was following it around month of October or November of 2021, I believe. That he came out saying, now we are moving from regular Facebook to now Meta. You know, he's already expected. See, people don't say you work for him. You think he doesn't know what's going to happen down the line? Facebook been around for 18 years. He has people that's around him, close to him. You think he's just one step ahead? He's 10 times step ahead. He know what the power he has, and he's already making moves ready.
And what people realize he doesn't do is, and I learned this the hard way, is big company has big lobbyists. So he's making laws that's going to benefit him, right? So he's paying lobbyists to go out there, right? That's the lobbyist game. A lot of people don't realize that. Azure, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they're trying to shape laws to benefit them. A friend of mine's running for judge in Chicago. Facebook tells you, and I'll probably do a stream about this, they can guess your political bent up to 98%. If you're a Democratic or Republicans, then I can send specific ads targeted to you, because I'm 99% know if you're a Democrat or Republican. I know if you moderate or radical, even by your post, who you connected to. You connected to parties and telling on yourself. So go ahead, Chaos. I'm gonna let you chime in on that one.
No, but you see, it's psychology at the end of the day. Professor BlackOps. And I like the name Black Ops because you're going in there for the anyway.
Facts.
Yeah. You tell too much of business on social. Now a lot of people say that I could disconnect, I'm fine. No, you have to understand the technology you're in today. See, I tell people this, and I'm not sure I got jars. And when I have you on my channel, bro, we're gonna have to re-emphasize again that you cannot escape the digital age of the 21st century. We're in the tech age now. I like to call it tech industries now. You know, you're gonna have to learn and get comfortable and being uncomfortable. You cannot live in the environment you're in, especially in because we're the first world nation, you know, third world, you know, outside third world countries, that we have everything on disposal that makes life convenient, easy for us. How are you as a person that's my age and you're in your late 50s, I'm like almost pushing like 40, right? That you can't be ignorant to say that, you know, as long as I'm not participating or I don't be much involved, I have to worry about this. No, you should be more involved and you should learn how it works so you're able to know how to function properly. You get me?
Oh, fine. Oh, great. That's why I tell people, if you're not the product, you are the product. So you don't know how the product works. So just chime on, and I actually put it on the screen, is Facebook apologized for running psychological experiments. This was 8 years old. What Facebook did is they started showing you ads and they wanted you to respond. And I remember when they did this, because a few things pissed me off is they kept showing this lady throwing puppies in a river. And I was just, so what they were doing is, why would you run psychological experiments? If I'm a company and I can make you happy, I know you're going to buy ice cream. If I can make you sad, I can make you buy some books. If I make you want to go on vacation and you super excited. So they were actually running psychological experiments 8 years ago. That's 8 years ago that they were physically, and they said they were doing it because she apologized. So people don't really know how deep this is. When you talk about marketing, that's part of marketing is, can I make you sad? Can I make you happy? Can I make you buy something, right? So people don't really understand what the level of Facebook and why they make $4 billion a year.
$4 billion.
That was years ago. I need to double check. So
I think
it's
now
up there. It's up there.
They said back in 2020 or 2019, one of them years, that they grossed 40 billion.
It might be. I might be off on my billion.
It probably went now. It was 40 billion 2 or 3 years ago. We know that depending on how people are still on the website, which they are, because they're not going to transition all the way to TikTok, which is controlled by the Asians, which they have a different algorithm from us than them. And one thing that they said politically, that I don't know if it was Trump or somebody said this, that now they monitor and watching your data from another foreign country.
Facts.
So now what the US is going to do, because you allow this app that you don't control now monitor your citizens.
Yeah, but the problem is, the reason they don't want to push toward is they're monitoring our stuff. I could bring up another thing where the government actually hacked Google. They actually hacked their data center and siphoned out every United States citizens to be able to track them. So they don't want that data out. So they're trying to balance it. But go ahead. So
yeah. And one guy wrote on Facebook, said 28.82 billion turnover this year.
Facts.
That's pretty.
But
I mean,
remember,
it's a little less than it was 2-3 years ago, but expected because a lot of people are finding other social medias to, you know, put out content. And let's be honest, way how things going, I don't like it, because like how we do these streams, I do the streams that's long too. That what TikTok does is dim it down and making it much worse for the attention span. It's already bad already, under a minute. And people don't understand, if you're only consuming something that's less than a minute, you are in grave danger. Now I expect somebody, I understand somebody that's under 18. I get it. That's fine. Your attention should be low. And if you have a certain mindset and you try and find things, educational stuff, then yeah, you'll come across these platforms. But once you pass 18, you're going from 20 and older, and you're still consuming under 5 seconds or under a minute content, you need to get yourself you gotta get yourself organized, get your life in order. You get me? Because the world does not operate under seconds. It operates in minutes. And we know things move fast, but information and how you absorb and understand information, it has to be better, improve. Because the things they put out here, they're gonna put it in a more like in these contents here. That's sometimes is favorite to the algorithm, sometimes not, because you know they try to make money and compete. But to those that have less attention span, it favors y'all because it's intended to do so, because less you dumb down with this type of low level content, the worse you're going to be in the long term of what they're trying to do long term with you. You get me?
I do.
To be able to pressure consumer, you have to control the attention span of people. And if your attention span is very low, if you're adult, then obviously they know by default you're going to pull out your wallet.
No, facts. And I think that, but too, I think, like you said, this generation, and I think the new thought pattern is trying to push you there so they can get your money out of your wallet, right? And two is you doing micro payments now too, so that makes everything easier for them.
Yeah.
So if I could do under $1 or 30 cents now, you can get your Cash App or your PayPal and do micro payments, right? So that's why, if you YouTube and you sell 1 million things for 50 cents, right, you can make a killer amount of money, right?
Oh, so, yeah. If you could do it good.
So I think that's the push. And like you said, you kind of dumb it down your audience, right? And your audience are kind of moving. A certain part of your audience are moving into that. And that's kind of stuff too, and kind of talk on those channels, those bigger societal things, like you said, running psychological experiments. I'm gonna talk about this because most people don't know, and Facebook amended it. They apologize, right? Most people don't know they get psychological experiments run on you, but people don't realize that's really what advertisement is. Can I entice you to buy something? Now the talk is what level of experimentation is that on you? Is that just the color? Or are we knocking people out, right? So there's different levels of experimentation, that could be on your channel. And I would love ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. Just reach out to me. Like I tell everybody, I'll be more than happy to come on your channel. And like I told Dr. Dunbar, I'm pretty versed in anything, anywhere you want to go, I can go. So we can do it.
Okay.
That's good. Like I said, I've been for the record with those guys. Usually when they do some tech, they invite me on. We were doing flying cars and something else. I think we were doing surveillance one time. I think that was years ago. So, but once again, I'm gonna talk about that on my channel because people don't know, like you said, the good and bad part about tech. And I think that's the bad part about the metaverse. When you get goggles, I think it's gonna be Ready Player One. You're gonna be in a shitty life, but they're gonna have you balling in the metaverse, right? Because a lot of people get laid off. That's my 2 cents. Go ahead, Chaos.
I've been lacking on that part because I was promised myself I was going to get one of those devices, but it didn't happen. I'm bored because once the dude announced it, I said, "Oh yeah, I gotta get on this as soon as possible," knowing that there can be complications because they're going to run, psychological experiments. They already done it already before those goggles start coming out of the effects.
You can run a lot of them on your high-end phones. I had a Samsung, and you can actually get the VR case and run it off your Samsung. It was so good. I was actually riding the Rapids in the Grand Canyon. I literally got seasick. So they're pretty good.
Well, that's what's up.
So you see that's one on Facebook where the old guy's in a huddle. He actually starts running into the wall because it feels so real. So so that's the future. That's the future.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of profit you can make on the metaverse if you jump on it now, personally.
Yeah, that's one thing we were talking about. How do you get the bag? I said training probably one of the first things are going to get good because if you ever watch Iron Man and Tony Stark, you click on the engine and the engine comes apart. You can look at the individual parts. So you could take training to a whole new level when you start breaking the engine. Or I was going to do IT where I show you the inside of the disk and show you where the ASCII part 1 and 0 shows on the disk and how that actually gets converted into an A. Right, from a technology standpoint, so you can actually go to the minutia and try to make it interesting for middle schoolers, right, and to get them into tech. But so those are some things we were throwing around and talking to metaverse, how to make money, how to get people in, and from because I used to teach at a community college for 10 years, so teaching and training.
Cybersecurity in community college. What you taught in the community college?
I taught cybersecurity and business law for a little while. I got an MBA, so I actually combine those. I work on policies and procedures, HIPAA and stuff in the real world, so I combine those two.
Okay. Good. That's good. That's excellent. Yeah. We're gonna talk. I had to make the date when I'm gonna do it. Probably maybe in November, maybe possibly. I'll think about it. Because I had to keep the ticket that same month, but that was like 2 years ago. But now I think I had to really start talk about it a little bit, update what's going on now, because things have changed, and we know technology moves much faster than anything else anyway, so got to keep up with it.
Oh yeah, people don't realize technology is moving so lightning quick. I think most people don't even realize how technology is moving so quick. I always joke, if you look at the cashier, there's going to be no cashiers probably in the next 10 years, right? Because it's self checkout.
Yeah.
You probably remember there used to be a whole bunch of administrative assistants in the 1950s. There used to be typing pools. Everybody typed their own letter now, right? It's not even a big deal. Oh, you just type. In the 50s, there was a bunch of people that just type letters, right? So if you go for the 50s, and the only people get a administrative assistant now is the CIO and the president. Everybody else, you typing your own damn letter. So people just don't realize that little change right there took about 1 million jobs away.
Yeah, and think about it. Usually people that could type fast and but type and know how to spell properly. Now you got things like grammar, grammar something.
Grammarly, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of people feel this is some cheap way of, but it's a person at the back of the mind create that app through either C+, Java or something, and create an app to make it easier for you so you could check your spelling, and depending you pay the service, you're able to, write professional stuff. Easy.
And the cool thing is Word bought a company and just gave it to you for free as part of their package now. You go to Word and you say, you go to Word and say, check my grammar, check my spelling in Word, Microsoft Word. They get that for you for free.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it.
Yeah. You see, it's so intuitive. You forgot about it. You used to have to pay for that in the 80s. Now you just Microsoft was like, hey, we want to help you, and we want you to buy a service. So they buy little companies like that for $10 million and just insert it in there. You just take it for granted. Right? So that's technology. So you do that, and you just say spell check, help my predicate. Now, you hit a couple bings. And now, too, if you go to the natural language speaking, you can talk into the type it for you while you're talking and check your spelling and check your grammar.
Yeah, I think
I
heard Microsoft words now because their updates. I think they introduced now that you could speak and it types it for you. I have not used that feature yet because, like I said, I type the best I could, my ability, but I won't be. I'm not person to say I will try certain things to make life a little easier in a way. Because personally, one thing I was thinking of, and this came back in my mind, and this little secret that I was thinking, how would it be nice to what I do and convert it into the words and eventually make it into some form of book. You know what I'm saying? Easier. So because so I'm thinking, because technology make it a little bit easier now, and we don't look into these avenues and say, why not take advantage of it?
And a cool shout out to the AWS because I'm on there. Is a friend of mine. She's self-publishing. She's self-publishing now on AWS. They got a thing where you publish it. They give you an editor super cheap because you're going to sell their book on there and they're going to get a profit. You can self-publish on Amazon. They're going to push it out to 1 billion people. So, you can talk about it, automatically print, do it. You send it to their editor. They know you're going to book. If they decent like it, they're going to take a percentage of it and they're going to push it out to 1 billion people.
Yeah. Look at the old man's book. He did the same thing, and he's on his 3rd book right now. And like I said, with the right advertised by other men, it kind of gave him where he is now for the 1st book. Being with that.
Oh, fast. Shout out to KS was pushing him. So
pushing. So like I said, I wish Kevin did wrote before something happened to him, but like I said, time was short. At times, when you try and get where you were at, like he got to the position now that he was always wanting to get for the last 7 years since he'd been doing content on YouTube, especially that he thinks down the line it was going to come eventually, but you just don't know nowadays. But like I said,
it could come, but then like you said, it might be your time. They might be syncing up. So
so we don't know. We just don't know. But anyway, it's almost 2 hours in the stream. You could check your email. I actually probably respond. I'll double check, but I send you the email, so it's locked in.
Okay,
and we'll keep in touch.
Definitely do
I am following the channel now. For those that's not familiar, that's techie. I tell people hit the top bell because I'm now a top subscriber. So anything that you put out, I will be knowing. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it. You come and check me out. Like I said, I'm doing a lot. Like I said, big society stuff. Long story short, shout out to engineering cannabis. You got a lot of algorithms that's going to take an effect that's going to hurt poor people and people of color. Number one is you getting digitally redlined with credits, right? They doing credit stuff with algorithms that just because you're in a certain neighborhood, you might not be able to get a business loan, right? They don't have anything to do with you
Oh,
personally.
wow.
You just in the wrong neighborhood, right? So that's digital redlining. So there's some stuff that I'm going to talk about this more society and big picture stuff, right? That because like you said, is I'm older. Let's think differently. Let's think community. Let's think society. Technology can have a negative effect and does have a negative effect. So some of the things like we talked about, they're doing psychological experiments on you. So let's talk about that to get that out to the regular people. Don't understand that, right? So that's why I'm here to help people not just do technology, but how technology affects society and how society affects Black men, Black people, and people of color all together, right? Some of it's not very good.
And think about it, you have a background business, so now you incorporate business and technology. So actually, I would tell people if you're not subscribed to this brother channel, I don't know who else, because I don't know anybody else in the space that has both. You know,
No,
so
I appreciate it.
So obviously, yeah, you definitely get my support, bro. This is
I appreciate it, man.
All right, I'm gonna jump down. I'll be watching still.
Okay.
Oh wait, one other question I do want to ask, because I know sometimes I play games sometimes, and I noticed that certain games to download, they're very big. Is there any other application to in regards to download any folder games? You know,
not that I'm aware of. I don't game much anymore, to be honest.
Okay. All right. But if you know, you keep us updated. You know,
Definitely. If you want a certain thing, and I tell my audience, just put in the chat. I got a couple things people request, and if it's in technology business, I do special videos and put them out for people, because usually if you want to know, other people want to know. So I do that too.
Okay, that work. Or in the comment section, either or. You know, we'll hit up and you'll get a chance to look at it, and then you could probably respond depending on the nature of the question. The nature of the question.
Definitely.
I'm gonna jump down. Take care. Thank you again.
All right, everybody have a good weekend. Well, I'm shutting it down. I'm glad my man Chaos Rain came in. Like I said, we were on the shout out to For the Record. They took this weekend off. They're usually a little spicy. They talk about a little bit about everything on their channel. So if you need some spiciness, For the Record with Topaz, Third Ward, and my man Colombian Ward. So I always check them out for the spicy stuff. So I'm on there. They're usually a little but too. I don't do the spicy stuff anymore. That's for the young people. But now, shout out everybody. Have a nice weekend. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks and take care. Once again, I'm sure I'll show up on his channel. He's doing big things out here. So, like I said, I'm trying to get acclimated in these cybersecurity streets. Everybody have a nice weekend. I'm out. Once again, everybody have a great weekend. Professor Black Ops, cybersecurity for the people. Please subscribe.